You feel it, don't you? That subtle hum of unease beneath the surface of your perfectly curated life. That whisper in the quiet moments when the distractions fade, asking, "Is this all there is?" You've built a fortress of comfort, brick by careful brick. A predictable routine, a stable job, familiar faces, the comforting glow of screens. And within these walls, you tell yourself you are free, you are safe, you are happy. But what if this fortress, this sanctuary you've so meticulously constructed, is not a haven at all? What if it's a cage? A gilded cage perhaps, with soft furnishings and all the modern conveniences, but a cage nonetheless. What if the very comfort you crave, the security you cling to, is precisely what's holding you captive? We live in an age that champions freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom of expression, freedom to pursue happiness. Yet, paradoxically, many of us feel more constrained than ever. We scroll through endless possibilities, yet choose the same path. We dream of grand adventures, yet settle for the familiar. We yearn for profound connection, yet retreat into superficiality. This isn't about external oppression. This isn't about tyrannical regimes or economic hardship, though those are real and devastating. This is about something far more insidious, far more personal. This is about the invisible chains you've forged for yourself, the ones woven from fear, expectation, and the seductive siren song of comfort. This is about the comfort trap. The comfort trap is the insidious belief that safety is the highest good. It's the quiet agreement you make with yourself to avoid anything that might disrupt your equilibrium, anything that might challenge your worldview, anything that might demand true courage. It's the fear of loss, loss of status, loss of approval, loss of the familiar future you've meticulously planned. It's the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown. But most profoundly, it's the fear of true responsibility. The terrifying, exhilarating burden of forging your own meaning in a world that offers none prepackaged. Think of Plato's Allegory of the cave. For millennia, philosophers have used it to illustrate our human tendency to mistake shadows for reality. Imagine those prisoners, chained since childhood, their entire world defined by the flickering images on the cave wall. They know nothing else. They believe those shadows are the sum total of existence. Their comfort, their understanding, their very identity is tied to those illusions. Now, imagine one of them is freed, dragged, kicking and screaming towards the mouth of the cave. The light is blinding, painful, the real world, chaotic and overwhelming. What would be their first instinct? To retreat, to return to the familiar, comforting darkness, where the shadows, though false, are at least predictable. Are we so different? We are born into a cave of societal expectations, cultural narratives, and inherited beliefs. Our screens, our social media feeds, our news cycles, they are our cave walls, projecting an endless stream of curated shadows. We mistake these flickering images for reality, for truth, for the full spectrum of human experience. And when the opportunity arises to step out, to question, to truly see, the discomfort is often too great. The light of truth, the raw, unfiltered reality of our own potential and the world's complexity can be blinding. So we retreat. We choose the familiar shadows, the comfortable lies, over the painful, liberating truth. Visual, a close-up on a face, showing subtle signs of internal conflict, then a wide shot of a modern, sterile environment. Friedrich Nietzsche, that magnificent provocateur, saw this tendency in humanity with chilling clarity. He spoke of the last man, a creature of comfort and conformity, who has invented happiness and blinks at anything that challenges his mediocrity. The lust man seeks only safety, ease, and the absence of suffering. He has no grand passions, no soaring ambitions, no will to overcome. He is content with the smallest, most superficial pleasures, and he despises anyone who dares to strive for something more, something dangerous, something great. Nietzsche's concept of the will to power is often misunderstood as a crude desire for domination. But at its core, it's a will to overcome, a will to grow, a will to create one's own values and meaning in a meaningless universe. The comfort trap is the ultimate subversion of this will. Instead of a will to power, we develop a will to powerlessness, a will to stagnation, a will to comfort. We trade the terrifying freedom of self-creation for the soothing illusion of security. We become the last man, not because we are forced, but because we choose it day after day, in 1,000 tiny concessions to fear. Consider Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German theologian who stood against Nazism. He spoke of cheap grace versus costly grace. Cheap grace, he argued, is grace without discipleship, without the cross, without Jesus Christ. It's forgiveness without repentance, baptism without confession, communion without self-examination. It's the easy way out, the spiritual shortcut that demands nothing of you. In our secular lives, we have our own forms of cheap grace, cheap comfort. It's the easy answers we seek online, the superficial belonging we find in echo chambers, the moral outrage we express from a safe distance without ever having to act. It's the avoidance of genuine struggle, the refusal to confront our own complicity, the unwillingness to pay the price of authenticity. Costly grace, on the other hand, demands everything. It demands your life, your courage, your willingness to stand for truth, even when it means standing alone. It demands discomfort. It demands sacrifice. The comfort trap thrives on cheap comfort. It tells you that you can have growth without pain, wisdom without struggle, freedom without responsibility. It's a lie, a comforting, seductive lie that keeps you perpetually on the surface, afraid to dive into the depths of your own being, afraid to truly live. And then there's Machiavelli. Often demonized, his insights into human nature and power are brutally honest. He understood that people are driven by self-interest, by the desire for security and stability. A ruler, he argued, must understand this and be willing to act ruthlessly, if necessary, to maintain power and order. But what if the prince Machiavelli described isn't just an external ruler? What if there's a Machiavellian shadow within each of us? A part that, in its desire for comfort and self-preservation, subtly manipulates our own perceptions, our own choices, our own narratives. We become masters of self-deception, crafting elaborate justifications for our inaction, for our compromises, for our refusal to step outside the cage. We tell ourselves we're being realistic, pragmatic, responsible, when in truth, we're simply afraid of the chaos that might ensue if we truly followed our deepest convictions, afraid of the judgment of the herd if we dared to be different. This internal Machiavelli prioritizes the stability of our comfort zone above all else. It whispers that the ends, a peaceful, predictable life, justify the means, the suppression of our true desires, the silencing of our inner voice, the abandonment of our most audacious dreams. It's a subtle tyranny, exercised not by an external force, but by a part of ourselves, against ourselves. Let's confront some uncomfortable truths, shall we? Truth 1. Your security is an illusion. The stable job, the comfortable relationship, the carefully planned future, they are all built on shifting sands. Life is inherently unpredictable. The only true security lies not in external circumstances, but in your internal resilience, your adaptability, your courage to face whatever comes. By clinging to the illusion of external security, you make yourself brittle, unprepared for the inevitable storms. Truth 2. Your happiness is often a distraction. We are bombarded with messages that equate happiness with comfort, consumption, and the absence of negative emotions. But true fulfillment, true joy, often emerges from struggle, from overcoming, from meaningful engagement with the world, even when it's painful. The pursuit of constant comfort can lead to a shallow, unexamined life, where genuine happiness is replaced by fleeting pleasures and a pervasive sense of emptiness. Truth 3. Your identity is largely borrowed. How much of who you believe you are is truly yours? How much is a reflection of what your parents expected, what society demands, what your peers approve of? The comfort trap encourages you to adopt a prefabricated identity, one that fits neatly into existing structures, rather than undertaking the arduous, terrifying, yet ultimately liberating task of forging your own. To truly know yourself, you must be willing to shed the borrowed skins, to stand naked before your own truth. Truth 4. The greatest risks are often the ones you don't take. The risk of regret. The risk of a life unlived. The risk of waking up one day and realizing you've spent your precious time on earth playing it safe, never truly testing your limits, never truly discovering what you're capable of. That, my friend, is the most terrifying risk of all. Imagine a life where you consistently choose the path of least resistance. You stay in the job you tolerate because it pays the bills. You maintain relationships that no longer nourish you because change is too difficult. You silence your creative impulses because failure is too embarrassing. You avoid difficult conversations because conflict is too uncomfortable. You numb your anxieties with endless entertainment because introspection is too painful. This isn't living. This is existing. This is a slow, quiet surrender of your potential, your vitality, your very soul. But what does it mean to break free? It's not about grand, reckless gestures, though sometimes those are necessary. It's about 1,000 small acts of courage. It's about embracing discomfort as a compass, pointing you towards growth. It's about questioning every assumption, every inherited belief, every should that dictates your life. It's about facing your fears, not to conquer them entirely, but to learn to dance with them, to understand their whispers, and to choose your own steps regardless. The path out of the comfort trap is not easy, it's often lonely. It demands that you cultivate a will to meaning, as Viktor Frankl might suggest, a profound personal reason to endure suffering and strive for something beyond yourself. It demands that you embrace the agony, the struggle, the beautiful, messy process of becoming. It means choosing the pain of growth over the pain of regret. It means saying no to the easy path, even when everyone else is taking it. It means saying yes to the terrifying unknown, to the possibility of failure, to the certainty of discomfort. It means reclaiming your agency, understanding that you are not merely a product of your circumstances, but a co-creator of your reality. You have the power to choose. You have the power to act. You have the power to define what freedom truly means for you. So, I ask you now, directly, what are the invisible chains you've forged for yourself? What comforts are you clinging to that are secretly holding you back? What uncomfortable truth are you avoiding? The choice, as always, is yours. You can remain in the comfortable cage, lulled by the illusion of safety, watching the shadows dance on the wall. Or you can choose to step into the blinding light, to embrace the terrifying, exhilarating unknown of true living, to break the chains, not with a single dramatic blow, but with 1,000 conscious acts of courage, day after day. The world outside the cave is vast, chaotic, and utterly magnificent. It awaits your arrival, but you must be willing to walk through the fire to get there. Are you ready?